Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to balance an equation. So any problem that has an equation associated with it, you have to make sure you balance it first before you answer any associated question with it, right? So if you see a problem like this, you have to balance it before you start answering any questions to do with this particular equation, right? So the three steps that I use to balance any equation are to balance all the non-hydrogen and oxygen atoms first, then we're going to balance our hydrogens, then we're going to balance our oxygen atoms, right? Three simple steps. Make sure that you can go through and balance equations quickly and you get the hang of it. That way you are not struggling to balance it before you answer any questions associated with that problem, right? So if we go through these practice problems, the first one, let's start by balancing all the non-hydrogen and oxygen atoms first. So in this one, we can see that there are potassiums, right, and phosphorus on both sides. Now I see one potassium over here and three over here. So what I'm going to want to do is put a 3 over here to balance out the K's on each side, right? Next, I see that there's one phosphorus over here and one phosphorus over here. So as far as this first step goes, we have successfully balanced all of our non-hydrogen and oxygen atoms. So we can move on to our next step, which is to balance all the hydrogens, right? So there's in total 6 hydrogens on this side, right? This 3 distributes to all 3 of these things, the K, O, and the H, right? So there's 3 there. There's also 3 here. So in total, there are 6 hydrogens on the left. There's only 2 hydrogens on the right, so I'm going to put a 3 here, right? Now we have our K's balanced, our phosphorus balanced, and we have our hydrogens balanced, right? 6 over here, 6 over here. Last, we need to balance our oxygen atoms, right? So in total, we have 3 plus 4, so there's 7 over here, right? And in total on the right side, we have 4 plus 3, which is 7 on the right side, right? So we can put a 1 here and a 1 here, and our oxygens are balanced. We can just leave this without a 1. It's understood if there's nothing there, there's a 1. But for our sake, we can put a 1 there, right? So it's 3 KOH plus 1 H3PO4 goes to 1 K3PO4 plus 3 waters, right? And that's balanced. To do number 2, right, let's follow these same steps. Balance all the non-hydrogen and oxygen atoms, right? So we have Au and sulfur, right? Au is gold, S is sulfur, right? So let's make sure that those are balanced before the oxygen and the hydrogens, right? So there's 2 Aus on this side, and there's only 1 on this side. So I'm going to put a 2 right here. Next, there are 3 sulfurs on this side, 1 on this side, so I'm going to put a 3 right there, right? Okay, there's no oxygens to worry about really for step 3, so all we have to do is balance the hydrogens and we're done, right? So we got the 2 Aus, we got the 3 sulfurs, right? Now, there are 2 hydrogens on the left and there are 6 on the right, okay? So I'm going to put a 3 here and that should balance it, right? Let's just make sure. We've got 2 Aus, we've got 3 sulfurs, we've got 6 over here and 6 over here, right? So we're good there. Last, we have C2H6 plus O2 goes to CO2 plus H2O. This is a combustion reaction, right? So to balance all of our non-hydrogen and oxygen atoms first, what we can do is put a 2 here, okay? So there's 2 carbons on the right, and there's now 2 carbons on the left. Now, let's balance all of our hydrogens, right? There are 6 on the left, and there are 2 on the right. So what I'm going to do is put a 3 here, okay? So now we can see that there's 6 on the left, and there's 6 on the right. Now, let's finish up by balancing our oxygens, right? So now we have 4 oxygens on the right, plus 3 more. So there's 7 total oxygens over here, right? 7 total oxygens on the right. Now what we can do to get 7 over here, right, is we can put 7 over 2, okay? So let's see if this balances, right? We have 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens, right? 7 over 2 times this is 7 oxygens, right? And we have 7 on the right. Now, if you don't like 7 over 2, what you can do is multiply that by 2, right? The 7 over 2 by 2, call that 7, right? If you don't like fractions in when you're balancing, right? If you do get that fraction of 7 over 2 and you don't like it, sometimes I like to get rid of it too. What I'll do is multiply that by 2, but if you multiply that by 2, you have to multiply everything by 2. So now this becomes 2, this becomes 4, and this becomes 6. Okay? So let's double check just to make sure it balances. We have 4 carbons on the left and 4 on the right. We have 12 hydrogens on the left and 12 hydrogens on the right. And 7 times 2 is 14 on the left. We have 8 right here and 6 more, which makes 14 on the right. So just as a summary, balance all your non-hydrogens and oxygens, balance all your hydrogens, and balance all your oxygens last, and make sure everything on each side balances out. That's the first step with any problem that has to do with an equation. You have to balance it. That way, you're working with a balanced equation and you can answer any question associated with it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out more of my videos on the channel.